Hi guys, welcome back to another mini series video. Now today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about active and passive. Now you might hear these two terms being thrown around in a yoga class, in fitness, so I want to describe to you what that feels like and what that looks like with yoga practice. So I'm going to show you a few movements of how you can adapt them to be active or to be passive and talk a little bit about the benefits of both of those. So let's get started. Now, as we get started, I want to let you know right now that I have 3 little doggies in the room, so they may well wander in and do various different things like lick my ankles or sniff my feet or something random like that. So just embrace the little doggy visits. So active and passive, now it might be things that you've heard of before, and there's benefits to both of them. So within your yoga practice, there's an opportunity to practice both of those elements. And you may experience possibly me talking about making things active and active stretches, because what that's going to do is it's going to bring you even more benefits. Because actually with yoga, a lot of yoga practices will focus quite heavily on passive stretches, and that's where you can sometimes come into some issues with your joints and sort of overstretching essentially the body. And whilst it has its place and it is important, it can also be detrimental if you're doing too much of that or if you're someone that is hypermobile. So we're going to talk about the difference between the two. So let's kick off with that. So I'll show you with examples because that's going to be the best way, and you can practice these as well as you go along. So we're going to sit down and we're going to do a really simple, I told you there'd be a visitor straight away. We're going to do a really simple stretch. Sorry if you heard that on the microphone. We're going to do a really simple stretch, if Teddy will allow me. And we're going to make it active and passive. So we're going to look at the two aspects of it. Apparently Teddy wants to get very much involved in this. So we're going to do a torso twist where we can make it active or passive, and what the benefits might be through that. So if you sit yourself with your legs extended, knees and feet pointing up to the ceiling or sky if you're outside, and you're going to take a bend through the right knee. Now immediately I'm going to make this really passive. So firstly, I've given it a helping hand. I'm going to take hold of the ankle and I'm going to help it cross over the left leg. From here, I'm going to continue to make it a passive stretch by taking my left arm, catching hold of that knee, and then pressing my right palm into the ground. And between this left arm and right hand, I'm sort of drawing the body round to that side. And this is the best way I can sort of describe for you a passive stretch. So what this is doing is it's helping us get to kind of the end range of movement here, but we are using force of our arms and our hands to get us to that point, which is absolutely fine. And come back round and place that foot down. Absolutely fine. Romeo is going to get involved as well and come and sit down with me. That's absolutely fine. And passive stretches are great because it gives you more stretch, it can get you further into something, you can stretch out the joints. You're getting visits by everyone today. Bo's here to join as well. Now it has its place, stretching out the muscles, actually getting into the muscles a little further, stretching out a little further. So passive stretches aren't wrong, but it's making sure you have a mixture of the both. Pre-warning, Bo likes to snore as well and snort. So let's now change it to an active stretch. So firstly, I'm going to get you to sit up nice and tall in that same positioning. So torso is nice and tall, feet, knees, again, looking up towards the ceiling. So immediately I'm going to make this a more active stretch by not helping my knee to bend. I'm going to take a bend in this left leg now, and I'm actually going to do that with the strength in my muscles and in my core, in my belly as well. So I've drawn that leg in, I'm not helping it with my hands. Then I'm going to continue to make it really active by stepping this foot over, but with no help, over the right thigh and bringing it down. Now, we wrapped this arm around before on the other side, but this time I'm going to get you to press your foot down into the ground and rather draw that knee in using the leg muscles and your muscles in your belly. So you can probably already feel it feels quite different. Then if we were to come over to this side and just hover our arms just towards this left side, again, you can feel how you really have to hold almost like a tension between the leg muscles, the core, goes into the back, kind of comes into the arms a little bit here. And pausing and holding that uses a lot more energy. So come back round, pop that down, and let's talk a little bit more about that. So essentially, your active and your passive stretches are just the difference between how much sort of muscle engagement you're essentially getting. An active stretch is really going to get to use more muscles within the body. You're going to find the natural end range of movement within that posture, and you're not going to manually manipulate it by bringing in an arm or forcing pressure through the ground. And it's not that it's cheating, it's just using a different sort of approach to doing those postures. Your passive stretches are going to help you to elongate and stretch, so they absolutely have a place. But like I was saying earlier, yoga gets possibly a bad reputation sometimes for overstretching, and for those of us that are hypermobile, which means essentially our joints are they're extra bendy, and they bend sort of past the normal range of movement, and we tend to be a little bit weaker in some of the muscles, and we hang out in the joints. When we practice all the time with passive stretches, it doesn't support that. And that's why we need to make sure that we're also adding into our practice, whether that be yoga or fitness, we're adding in some active movements. So within your yoga practice, you can do little things to help to make things active. And that's when you would usually bring the arms round and bind in a position, or lower down and take hold of the feet and stretch down. By removing that and trying to use your muscle power to stretch a little further, you're going to be using a much more active approach and use more muscles through the body. So it's really good to have a blend of the two of them. So let's look at another stretch where we can also apply a similar sort of active versus passive approach. So we're going to come up into our triangle pose. So if we step our left foot back and our right foot forwards, the left foot is in alignment with the lower part of my mat, my right foot is pointing forwards. So with your triangle pose, you would open up the arms, you'd reach forwards over that leg, and then start to tilt the body down towards that leg. Now for most people, we kind of come down and we dump down low as possible, kind of let gravity do its work, bringing us down. And then we tend to forget about this top portion because we just want to get lower. But what if we instead reach up with this top arm, draw in the belly, and as much as we're coming down, we're actually reaching up through these muscles here. And that not only helps to spiral the kind of torso open to this side, it takes some of the pressure out of that gravity that's pushing you down. So creating a much more active stretch. Also not resting the hand on the leg and actually hovering it by the side of the leg. And I'm going to start to shake. Come back out of that slowly. And of course, you can try that on the other side as well. So there's lots of ways that you can make your movements more active and get into more muscles in the body. And it's really about just tweaking those postures and those exercises to, rather than always overstretching and stretching out, adding a little bit more muscle work and tone, and use those muscles within your body to support. out. And it's really, really important that we're not just stretching out and getting too far into the joints and sort of causing issues there. Rather, I would rather you built up your muscles as well at the same time. So thank you so much for bearing with me with my little dogs, my furry visitors, joining us throughout this practice. I hope it's been helpful and not just giving you an insight into what people are talking about when they say active and passive, but also the benefits behind it and how you can adapt your practice to incorporate both of those and have both the benefits. Having your passive stretches for really helping to stretch out. If you've got tight muscles and you do a lot of work on building up muscle strength, then yes, your passive stretches are going to be really, really helpful in helping with that. However, also, if you're doing so much yoga and just stretching out and doing passive stretches and always just trying to reach your toes, then your active stretches and your active postures are going to be so, so important for helping you to have good, strong muscles. And that's really, really important. A little area of tightness, I would rather have a little bit of tightness through the body in some areas and maybe have a little less flexibility and have good, strong muscles as well. So it's a little bit of a seesaw balance. So I really hope you enjoyed this little mini series. I hope it is helpful and has given you a bit of education and a little bit of options of how you can adapt your fitness and yoga practice. Take care guys, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you on the next video very soon. Bye guys.